Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL, or Reading Between the Lines. So this is a special drop rate up, round 2. So apparently there's round 3. Judging by the dev notes and the date release of the collaboration banner, apparently there's going to be one more week. I'm still thinking it could be Euphine and Haste, but Iseria is a really nice one. I'm going to talk about Iseria right after I go through this, kind of skim the news. I'll talk about Iseria in a bit. I'm actually gonna talk about it after this. Let's go to the news first. And yeah, so we have the Champion Zerato challenge. Now, I'm not quite sure. I think he's a playable hero. I think the Korean servers already have him. He was released before. I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure I saw screenshots of people actually using him. But he's not available for us, at least right now. We don't know if he will be available in the future. Maybe he's the next, next set of MLs? That just doesn't make any sense. I'm not quite sure. But anyways, instead of getting the hero, we do get a Lila Violin. So this was already in our Heroes Journal, so we know that this was already released in Korea. Gonna quickly take a look at this. There's no Epic Hell difficulty. I'm pretty sure I saw Epic Hell. Maybe there isn't. Hell difficulty, I would again advise that if you're farming this, hard difficulty is probably like the easiest to get. You feel that the rate is about the same. Like hell difficulty is much more like time consuming, and a 20% rate. I mean, RNG is just really bad. Tara's like pretty sure they just screenshot him attacking you. Feels bad, man. Someone in Discord showed his S3 animations, but it was a couple days ago. But it could be still from the challenge. So maybe they don't have the hero. Maybe he's yet to be released. Tara's like screenshot them attacking me. Feels bad, man. Okay, so anyways, this one's pretty good. I would say like, these artifacts, most of these are good enough for you to consider actually maxing them out. It's has a chance of dispel 1 buff from the enemy after attacking. Now, I don't know the language on this. The language on this doesn't seem to be limited to a single target attack. Generally, the translations or the descriptions would say like, oh, if it's for a single target, they'll pretty much say it. But this has an 80% chance if you max it out, chance to dispel 1 buff from the enemy after attacking. Now, I don't know, it could sound like an AoE thing to me. If it's an AoE thing, I think this is even better than I originally thought. But if it's single target, it's not bad to have, just in case you really do need an extra dispeller. You just think about how many times you need a dispeller, and having a mage to be able to do that will be really awesome. Let's say, for example, like even in Hunt A11, having dispellers is really good. And if you have a mage on that team, let's say like Tenebria or something for a defense breaker, maybe this can work for it. So I mean, again, it does depend on like, does this proc with an AoE attack, and does it proc like AoE, or does it only work with a single target attack? But from the reading, it seems to be any attack. But there is one caveat to this, is that if you could read it again, 80% chance to dispel 1 buff from attack after attacking. So let's say, for example, you wanted to like apply like a debuff, let's say on Angelica. Okay, you wanted to apply a debuff on Angelica, but she has immunity set up. So your debuff won't apply until after you dispel the buff. So I believe the attack, the debuff in the attack goes first before you actually apply the dispel. So basically, if you did that, let's say on an immunity set Angelica or someone with immunity, you're not gonna get the dispel until after the attack. So regardless, your debuff won't stack. But that's just something to note there if you're planning to use it. But I do think that it would be solid for A11 for sure, just because in A11, basically the whole key is to be able to run a dispeller to make sure that he doesn't get too strong. But that's my thoughts on it. Quickly move. Arena. Okay, so Arena Season 2 items. Now this is really exciting. You can see the currency here. Conquest points 1,200. Glory Crest. Now, I think I did careful reading and seeing that, is this a mix of currency? Like, so do you need 1,200 conquest points with 400 glory crests, or can you actually just use glory crest or just use conquest points? I'm not quite sure. Regardless, we know that Passionate Frame can only be purchased by glory crest, and you don't need conquest points for it. Now the Unknown Slate is 2,700 conquest points. It's okay, I'm getting mixed feedback on stream here. Someone says it's one or the other. Some people said it's both. Okay, so Unknown Slate 2,700 conquest points for season 1 of Arena. It only costs 2,700 conquest points. But now if it is both, then you do need 1,000 glory crests on top. So it's more expensive actually. But they did change the Unknown Slate. But I'll talk about it in a bit. So okay, that's interesting. So if you do need, we'll need to have a required amount for both currencies. Oh, I see. Interesting. That's interesting. So yeah, they literally jacked up the price for all the stuff. But just, you know, for to defend the developers, I believe season 1 you had a ton of time to be able to get all the gear and the Unknown Slate. It should be no problem whatsoever. If you just do your daily, even 5, let's say the 10, okay, you get the free friend point flags. Even if you just did those and you just capped it out, I'm pretty sure you can get all of this by the season end. I mean, it took like what, 3-4 months before season 1 ended. So that's incredibly crazy. So it's not too difficult. It's just that, yeah, it's gonna be a bit more like, you won't be able to like rush and get them. Like, you might be able to get like 1 or 2 pieces if you're like a steady Arena player ever since like you saw the dev notes that this is coming. Maybe you've been saving it. I know myself, I can probably get like 2, 3, maybe 2 pieces of the gear right off the bat. But you know, it's gonna go away and I'm gonna have to regrind it. The only different thing is that the Unknown Slate now, we'll be able to purchase it again when season 3 begins. So I'm not quite sure. Unknown Slate will not be available for purchase after the end of season 2. So again, they're giving you this warning. Okay, they're giving you this warning that there's gonna be a new one in season 3, which is really awesome. It's really awesome. Now we know that, okay, every Arena season we're gonna get a new Unknown Slate. I like that consistency. I like that predictability. But it is warning you, purchase at the end of season 2. So for people who missed out on season 1, man, like, don't let this slip you by. It's one of the most, I would say, the most prized thing in this set. One of the most, because those imprints can be really good. So we talk about the Arena set. When I saw this, I was wowed. I was completely wowed by this. This is a full set of gear. We're talking like yeah, like you can see it, all 6 pieces here. Attack set is kind of interesting, and actually I don't mind it. I frankly don't mind it. The substats in here, depending on how they roll, it's very, very usable. It's very usable. I can most likely convert a couple of my damage dealers. Maybe swap out the necklace. Again, depends on my substat rolls. Maybe swap out the necklace for a crit damage thing, and I got a solid set. I mean, this is amazing stuff. 88 epic. You can see the 13% attack base there, 62 on the weapon. So that means it's 65% attack ring, 65% attack boot, 310 attack weapon there. The health is going to be good too, at 60% crit chance. I mean, 60% crit chance on someone with like a DPS with a solid, like, let's say 21% or 23% critical hit chance innately with awakenings. You pretty much don't need any critical hit chance stuff on them. You can just focus all your substats on critical hit damage, and that's just amazing. It's just amazing to have. Maybe even break a set. You know, if you want to go like a 4-piece destruction set and use this critical hit chance, if you're lacking like that extra 5% from a regular level, what's it called, level 75 or whatever. So 85 for a 55% critical hit chance. So this is amazing stuff. I can't wait to get this, and hopefully we get like pretty good rolls on it. Obviously there's a lot of effect resistance. I just noticed this. I think based on this, I'm looking at this, I think it's the exact same substats as the previous set. I think it is. But regardless, amazing set to have, and this is free. Keep this in mind. Like, we gotta technically free. No, is that the same substats? Okay, so out of all of these, I would say like I'm mainly scared for effect resistance here. It's not the same. Okay, I see. They said the previous ring had HP. Oh, right, you're right. It does. Okay, so completely different. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Yeah, if rolled good, the ring is good. Now, every piece from here, for a damage dealer, every piece from here is amazing, except that effect resistance substat. I really hope we don't get salty, man. Like, if it was all... Geez, that's the gamble. That's the gamble. Otherwise, it's too OP. It's too OP. If it's swapped for like effectiveness, it would be such an OP set. Like the entire thing. It's just too crazy. All right. So, anyways, frame feature added. Yeah, so you can change your frames. Kind of nice to have. And yeah, you can buy the frames in with your glory crest. So keep that in mind. Hunt information added. I kind of like this feature. I think it's kind of cool, but to me, it doesn't really mean much. Basically, you look at the strategy and you kind of look at like what other players have been using, so you can kind of formulate your team. But in my opinion, like, you know, there's such thing as YouTube. People are going to be looking at it anyways. You get a general idea. Like mid-tier players will be, even if they can't take on, let's say, Golem 11, they'll know kind of like, you know, what the basic hero rules are. They'll kind of know what they need to bring anyway. So I mean, I'm not like knocking on this feature. It's kind of a nice to have, but again, I think this wasn't like a high priority thing for them to work on. But again, I don't know how big their development team is, so this is kind of a nice to have. The thing is, like, because this resets every week, so it updates all the time. It might be interesting, but it's just that I find that there's, like, you know, there's Reddit, there's forums, there's a ton of places, outlets where people can kind of share their strategies and teams, that this won't be really used. It might be used for newer players just picking up the game, that's kind of like not familiar with like what kind of resources they can get like elsewhere online. This might be good. But yeah, either way, it's a nice feature to have, but I don't think it's a must-have feature. I don't think anyone was really, like, you know, asking for it. So that one kind of took me by surprise. Let's see here. All these little updates, I don't think it's that important. Yep. So let's get to Iseria and what I think about her. So anyways, Iseria, round 2 dropping again, 1 week available and with a higher drop rate, but you can pull off banner heroes. So just keep that in mind. It's only increased drop rate, but you can pull off banner. Iseria is very good all around. Hold on, wait. Let me catch up on the chat here as I'm transitioning. Doppels is saying that, you know, she might look at it while the meta changes. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I really think that if the meta changes, we would all know about it. Like, people who have their kind of like the pulses of like what's changing in the community. I'm just saying, like, even off my own Discord community, like, all of these guys are like way more in touch with updates than I am. They're usually like, hey Jagan, did you check out this news? And I'm just like, what? Well, I just woke up. They're already like on it. And so most of the time, if there's like a new like 3-man team, some 2-man team, some crazy team that uses like 3 stars only, they'll be like the first one to post it. So I don't know. I really don't think that's gonna be used that much. But who knows? Whatever. Even if it's used much, I mean, if it helps newer players, that's awesome. So I mean, I think that's the main purpose of it. Help new players, or help people think about strategies to maybe beat the hunts faster. Anyways, Iseria is a ranger, very good earth elemental. She's a Leo, so this will take those ultra fangs and blazing souls, I believe, for her awakenings and her skill enhancements. Twisted horns. She has pretty good base stats. I'm gonna name them right now. So a 6-star awakening, she has 6,000 health. That's base. 1,158 attack, not bad either, and a 112 speed. So overall, her defense is kind of okay too, 553. But I mean, you can't assume that, you know, all ranges should have all these beefy stats. She's pretty beefy, not the fastest, but not slow at all. Very good health. Generally, if I'm looking at some Iserias in arena, they're averaging like 10k HP. They're not really easy to nuke, but they're Iseria is very good. If you take a look at the kit here, and we'll kind of discuss on, like, you know, maybe what kind of build you want to build here, and most likely you know, what team you want to run her with. Iseria right now is really hot because of a Tamarine. Tamarine being able to CR push up to 50% with an attack buff is amazing coupled with Iseria, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So I also read the damage mods on it. It's very strong. So the soul burn effect for the S1, so we'll take a look at that. Soul burn effect increases the effect chance by 50% and increases the damage dealt and does not trigger a dual attack. If you use the S1, it's a 2x modifier on an S1. That's very strong, and already has up to a 50% chance to defense break. So that means the Malagora investments in there. 50% chance to defense break. I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be split into like 5% and then 10% on like +4 or something like that. Actually, I should take a look at it. I already have it. Yeah, +5 and then +10 effect chance. And it does a lot of damage, 2x mod, which means that you can actually invest in the damage output of this skill, and it would actually pay off because 2x damage is incredibly strong. The soul burn only costs 10 souls, so it's very cheap. And sorry, the soul burn, I have to say, the soul burn is 2x damage. I have to make sure that's clear. Otherwise, it's a 1x damage mod. But soul burn is 2x. But like I said, it's cheap, so it's very strong. And then of course, it makes it a 100% chance to decrease the defense. But does not trigger a dual attack. I think it's only on the soul burn that doesn't trigger the dual attack. Otherwise, someone can benefit straight from that defense break, which is kind of broken if you think about it that way. But I think without soul burn, you can trigger a dual attack. And then the S2 is probably why she's used now in so many Tamarine comps. Reset skill cooldown, so fully reset. Now there is another hero that does reset skill cooldown, and I believe the name is Rima. Basically, it's an ice ranger. I believe it's ice, but it does only reduce the cooldown by a certain amount. While this does a full reset. So someone was mentioning this. I forgot his name, but I'll give him a shout out here. On YouTube, he was saying that, oh yeah, Iseria plus Rima combo, very deadly, because you can pretty much just keep spamming the CDs. Pretty cool. Oh, Dingo does it too, but does not full reduce. Ah, I see. Oh, that's really good. Regular Dingo, correct? Or are you talking about, yeah, regular Dingo? Yeah, that's really good to know. But hers, I think, is the only hero that has a full reset. Now, of course, it does everyone except the caster herself, but it doesn't really matter. You would most likely not have to use it on herself, because her role is to set up for another hero. It's very clear on her full kit. Defense breaking, and also her S3. I'm gonna talk about that. Dingo is 1 turn to everyone, and so does Ricorous. Ah, I see. So it's all 1 turn. It's very good. Oh, I think there's other ones too. Other ones have it too. Now that I'm thinking about it. But I remember Rima has like a 2 or 3 turn cooldown. I think you can upgrade it, so it's actually pretty good. It's like almost second best in terms of cooldown resetting. Anyways, if you do it after Awakening, which most likely you will, it resets the cooldown, but also grants an extra turn. So for Tamarine comp, I mean, if you guys haven't seen other YouTube videos out there, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty popular arena team, an offensive arena team to keep that in mind. Is like Iseria with Tamarine and some damage dealers. If you haven't checked out my terror account update review, we do use Tamarine, Iseria, Spectre Tenebria, and Luna comp in arena for a couple runs, and it works out really smoothly. It's really good, and I think people are catching on to it. And so I think Iseria, if you do have Tamarine and you don't have Iseria, she's definitely worth pulling for. It's just, again, we have collaborations coming, and you know, whether or not you want to risk getting her off banner, which could be it could be never. That's up to you. But right now I'm half. I'm not quite sure if I want to pull for her yet. S3, it's a 2x mod. So S3 without any conditions is a 2x mod. 4-turn cooldown if you you know, get the cooldown reduction enhancement. Attacks with a magic sword, giant magic sword, dispelling all buffs. So all buffs, including immunity, and the dispel goes first. So it's very important to know the order of the stack. And then it decreases the defense and then make them unbuffable for 2 turns. She's a really solid single target nuker, and of course her kit is very good. So I mean, with that kit, she can really work, again, like I said, with Tamarine, because Tamarine does require up to 4 turns for her to use her S3. And once she does her S3, she's really good, because Tamarine, of course, can strip buffs. She can do a CR push. She has a double attack on 100% proc double attack with your highest damage dealer. Attack buffs. I already mentioned the CR push, so it's very good. So I mean, generally people run her Iseria first. And why I said offense team is because the AI, if you're running her on a defense team, she'll do the S3 first. So if you ever run Iseria and Tamarine on a defense team, that won't really work, because people could really take advantage of you kind of quote-unquote wasting a turn, knock out Tamarine, which most likely will be your solo healer there, and then knock out Iseria very quick. So for an offensive team, solid strategy. Defensive team, it doesn't really work too well. I do think that her best sets, and I would say only 2 sets of equipment really work on her, and that is speed set. So speed set with a speed boot, and then you finish off the 2 other slots with a hit set or effectiveness set. I do believe that those are the only ones that you can go for, and that should be the only ones that you focus on. If you are in high tier arena, you want somewhere near like 150 at least 150 effectiveness, because people are running over 150 effect resistance. So you have to get that high, otherwise she won't be able to dispel, she won't be able to defense break, she won't be able to cast the unbuffable. Even if it's 100%. The S3, just to note, is 100%. If the percentage is not mentioned there, it's always 100%. The only thing you're rolling against is your effectiveness versus their effect resistance. Now, arguably speaking, of course, you know, it's not likely that the full team you're facing in GVG or even PvP, that they're going to be running like all 4 heroes with like 100 plus effect resistance. It's not likely, because you're going to have some damage dealers in there. But you know, if let's say they're really annoying and they have like a tank with that, they have like imprints like from Angelica, from C. Armin, and they have their tanks and healers with high effect resistance, it's gonna be super annoying. So I mean, you won't be able to strip their buffs, you won't be able to debuff them, so even running Tamarine might not even be that beneficial, unless your nukers are really strong. But anyways, that's my thoughts on it. I really do think that those are the only sets of gear. Generally, you know, I would kind of give my advice on like, oh, maybe you can mix and match this, just aim for that substat. But she really needs to be pushing to be the fastest she can be. So it has to be at least a T85 speed boot with a speed set to complete that. So I think just with those pieces, if I'm looking at her stats right now, that 112 there, you'll most likely get what, 140 speed just with completing the speed set, plus another 40 with a speed boot, which is 80. So about 180 speed just with that set. But you really need to dive deep into your substats from your other gear in order to get her over 200. You want her ideally to be faster than CR boosters, so at least 220 to 230 speed to make her to go first no matter what, for the Tamarine comp at least. But otherwise, even if you're not running Tamarine, she is solid. She's very good single target, like I said, single target nuker, and she brings a lot to the table. You can use her for, I believe, a lot of boss fights because of what she brings to the table. Really helps. I mean, reducing that cooldown is really good. You can also reduce the cooldown of her S2, so 5 turns. But by 5 turns, I mean, let's say if you were to reset, I don't know, like Luna's S3 or something. Let's say you're taking on a boss, you reset Luna's S3, and you know, by the time Luna can get like let's say another reset of her own cooldown by using her S1 to reduce the cooldown, Iseria will most likely lap and be able to reset it on the next time she goes. So you're gonna get a ton of S3s on Luna. Of course, people are saying this as well. You're gonna get a ton of S3s on Sirmia, since it resets all the cooldown, right? It resets the skill cooldown for every single skill. So Sirmia, if you know her, of course, she can use her S3, S2 resets her S3, and then you can use the S3 again because it also gives you 2 turns. And then you can use this Oathkeeper, reset Sirmia again, and then she can do her S3, and then do the S2 and then S3 again. While on top of that, you're technically the full time Sirmia is using her, except the first hit, using Sirmia's greater attack buff the whole time. So anyways, that's my thoughts on Iseria here. I don't think there's much else I need to give as an input, but I would definitely say she is worth it if you have Tamarine mainly. But even if you had Sirmia, like I said, that kind of you know, nuke at your disposal is incredibly strong. Anyways, I'm gonna end this news video here. So that's it for this RBTL. If you guys have Discord, check it out. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't, and I will see you guys next time.